it full or something?
I think it's maybe that slide got full.
Oh.
I don't know. Slides are important.
Yeah.
So maybe, I'll try to spend some time thinking, and maybe, now I know this going into the observation, and so there's definitely going to be sharing built in this day and talking. So I'll see what I can observe and maybe look at, keep some kind of a diagram of all of the different tables and groups of students, and try to keep a tally of what you're doing and how engaged they are during that part of the lesson to see if we can find any kind of pattern. Like, well, it seems like when this is happening, this is causing them to drift off. And then maybe you can use that data as a starting point for your own data collection of trying to make some connections between the instruction that's happening and
maybe because since I'm teaching, maybe I'm not noticing, okay, this assignment, this happened, or and even today this one student, he's a great student. I believe he has an A in our class, and he's always on task, really quiet but friendly and sweet kid. And out of nowhere, he finished his work, and out of nowhere he said he hated our class. And then I was like, well, why do you hate our class? And he said the same thing. He's like, it's the last period of the day. I'm just so tired. I can't do anything else. Like, he doesn't have it in him anymore.
Right.
And since it's English 1 honors, they're expected to do a lot of work in that class because we kind of have to raise the bar a little bit in that class. So I think to make them go above and beyond after they've already reached their limit is exhausting for them as well. And I know he doesn't really hate the class, but I think he just hates having to go to that class 7th period and doing all of that work. And a lot of the times they have homework, they have reading, they have assignments, they have discussions, they have all kinds of things to do. So
and maybe
I think it's overwhelming.
Fine, sure. And again, as 9th graders, so they're still making the transition into being a high school student where there is a lot more independence and higher expectations maybe than they had in middle school. But maybe as I observe and as I'm thinking about this, maybe we can even think of some ways to spice things up a little bit, as in begin class with some kind of funny, quirky thing every day.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
and
end class
do that. They all have good energy. They're really, goofy in a mature way, not in a distracting way.
Right.
And we do try to do that, but I think maybe depending on the assignment that we do or the lesson, I haven't really made that connection yet because it's still so new to me.
Sure.
So I'm not like a pro at it yet.
Right. Well, you've only been by yourself in there for 2 days.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So time will tell, and I'll learn through the experience as well.
And recording your own teaching for this, to look at this very specific thing. We can record our teaching and then analyze that video for a variety of reasons, but maybe since this is something you've noticed and you want to fix, that would be a reason to record this class, for maybe like on for 5 days in a row, and then watching that to see what is it that's making them drift off. Of course, you'd need to make sure that whatever you're recording with is able to capture you and all of the students. Yeah. But that might be something to think about as well.
Yeah, and even the one student that said, I hate this class, he actually had a friend, and I think it was his only friend in the class, and he got switched out of our class. And I feel like maybe that kind of had an effect on him because then he got really quiet again. Because he's a very shy kid, but he's so nice. And then now he sits with 3 girls, and and he does talk to them, and he's always, being very smiley, but I feel like maybe since he doesn't have that support system, and especially at that age, that's so important to them. Yeah. But, and there seems to be a lot of girls in that class, so we try to, switch them around a little bit, but it's hard to, put everyone with who they like,
And sometimes I found that in that kind of situation, utilizing that student to help me sometimes and to just make them feel like they're really valued in that class. Yeah. And that you have a vested interest in him. That might help, to really get him on your side that way. Yeah. So. Yeah.
He's a nice kid. I don't think he really hates it. I think he just hates the
And he might have been having a bad day.
Yeah. And I know he plays football, so he's just really burnt out.
Yeah. They're very, and that's another thing for you to think about too then is, utilizing the coach because they know our students on a different level than we do. It's a different kind of relationship.
Yeah, totally
And
different.
so maybe asking, first of all, is this, energy level, are you noticing this out on the field during practices? Is he shy? Sometimes, so that I wouldn't be biased in any kind of email that I send, I would just say, can you please send me your thoughts on student A? And then they would just go away. And sometimes it would be just in line with what I'm observing, and sometimes it wouldn't. And so then you can work together with the coach to see, put your heads together and see, well, how can we best help him?
Yeah.
Now, last time when I observed you, I wrote all these narrative notes that we went over. Do you find that helpful, or is there some other kind of way that you wanted me to collect data to be able to get back to you that you have in mind?
I think the notes are helpful, and maybe positive things that I do or things that maybe need to be worked on.
Sure.
So I think a little bit of both is
Okay.
fine, and writing it down is
Okay.
fine with me. So
Okay.
it's been helpful so far.
Good. Okay.
But yeah, and I know it's a learning experience, so I know I'm not going to do it perfect, but hopefully, I do put my all in each thing that I do.
And we don't ever all do it perfect.
Yeah.
Even after 25 years, it's not always going to be perfect. So it's
Yeah.
always learning and being reflective and being willing to ask peers for help and, doing the things that you're doing now and thinking about what's happening and then trying to figure out those cause and effect relationships of why is this happening, and then now how can I do something about this?
Yeah.
So that you're a better teacher practitioner and so that your students learn the things that you want them to learn and that they need to learn.
Yeah, definitely.
So I will take the narrative style notes and then we'll go over those when we debrief.
Okay.
And then I'll also try to make some kind of a visual and a chart of the instruction that's happening and then how students are either engaged or drifting off.
Yeah, that class is pretty good, but if they're not doing something, they will drift off because they're looking at the bell, they're waiting for the bell to ring to go home, the buses, what they're going to do after school, so they have to be busy.
Yeah. Thanks, Christina.
You're welcome.